Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to race number 8 as the season winds down here in the NRSL Reese's Late Model Series. We are here live at Watkins Glen International Raceway getting ready for what should be some very interesting road course racing. Not to say these drivers haven't been racing on road courses for a good portion of this series, but this time they're getting a little bit of a taste of a classic track as opposed to some of the tracks we've been to in the last couple of weeks. Also coming into this race, after today's event, we've only got 2 more races. We've got race number 9, and then we got the season finale, which I'm pretty certain, I haven't decided yet, but I'm pretty certain we are going to be having our season finale at Zenjoltis. So they'll actually get a little bit of super speedway racing as well for the finale. And that's going to be very important because the points battles coming into today and maybe for the next couple of weeks are super, super close. Right now, C5 is the closest points battle in this series. You've got Jake Haynes, now the new points leader, by 1 point over Johnny Gardner, who has won back-to-back races at Riverside and last week at Diablo Valley. He comes in only 1 point back, and he's your pole sitter for today's race as well, trying to go 3 in a row. And Jessica Shelton, Carson Gum, who were co-points leaders last week, they come into this race only 2 points back from Jake Haynes. It is super, super close there. For RX, it's pretty close. Nick Alton, who's also gone back-to-back wins, leads over Dylan Poteet by 1 point, and 6 points back is Ian Dutta still in contention. Let's get the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
Command to fire the engines has been given. MG1, you got Isaac Romero still atop the point standings there. 5-point advantage over James Quall, 6 points over Austin LaPlante, and 7 points now in contention for the championship. Last week's winner for Class MG1, Ryan Acosta, and then for MG2, Charles Sanford. He still dominates that one, and of course he's gotten some help with Riley Anderson now out of the series, but still in contention for the championship to try and take it away from Sanford, and something could happen here today that maybe could help close the gap up even more, is Zach Buchanan. He is 8 points back. One driver making his debut here today, 1 week after Lisa Gonzalez got her first MG2 win. I failed to realize that was a Daniel Voiles driver, but Zachary Fitzwater will be making his debut in the 36 car. Here we go then, Johnny Gardner and Benjamin Miles. That is your top 2 to start this race. Green flag is out. We're underway here at the Glen. It's also worth mentioning Dylan Young, you see there, starting 3rd. Second on the inside line. He's only 8 points back, so he's not out of it yet either. And if wrecks take place, remember, there are no caution flags, so these drivers will not race it back to the line or anything. As I'm looking back through the field, looks like everybody so far is okay. Nope, Joseph Bryant has run into trouble. And Jake Haynes, the leader of C5 points. Caleb Farrell is smoking. There's the points leader, Charles Sanford for MG2, and the points leader for MG1, Isaac Romero. Cody Lamas collected as well. But like I said, no cautions, as let's see if they all get through the bus stop here. Okay, one car went off track. I think that might have been Gene Sanford. Nope, it wasn't. It was Zachary Fitzwater debuting here, and he's off track and into the sand trap. Oh man, they're racing like crazy back here. We'll move back up to the front as Johnny Gardner is in command. Benjamin Miles in 2nd. Dylan Young there in 3rd with Dusty Allen, O'Neal Balvin there 4th and 5th. There's Shelton, and there's Carson Gum. Nick Alton. Somebody put a bucket of water on the hot streak this guy is having. He's right now the highest running of RX, and the driver he was battling last week at Diablo Valley for the RX win, Seth Cole, right behind him. Michael Norman there as well. Don't count him out. Norman's been on a bit of a streak as of late of good runs in the RX division, and so too has Sam Young. John Cittadino leads MG1 right now. He's got a pretty good advantage over the next MG1 driver, which is right there, Austin LaPlante. LaPlante battling right now with a couple of RX machines, Stephanie Gardner and Ian Dutta. As through the corner they go. Danny Wells, I believe right now, is the highest MG2 machine. His closest competitor is right there, Luke Walker in the 46. Charles Sanford got around Pichu London. Sanford trying to march his way back up here to the front. The car he has to worry about is Zach Buchanan. And there is Zach, who actually is running behind Sanford. So right now, Sanford would grow his points lead still. Buchanan started pretty far up there in the field, too. There's Trent Dunham way back here as well in the 97. Cody Lamas has returned back to the racetrack. He's missing his hood, however. And I think we got some drivers already out of the race. Caleb Farrell and Joseph Bryan are both out. 28 of Jake Haynes. Where is he? He's just now coming off pit road. That's our points leader for the Class C5. And with Johnny Gardner leading this race, that is not good for Haynes to keep his points lead. There is Fitzwater. Tough debut race here for him, as Johnny Gardner and Benjamin Miles have opened up a bit of a gap between themselves and third place Dylan Young. O'Neill Balvin there as well in the 16, and then Jessica Shelton, who right now would have lost some ground to Johnny Gardner in the point standings. Came in 2 points back, right now running 4 positions behind. So the gap would open up to 6 points she would have to make up on Johnny Gardner, as there were some skid marks on the front straightaway. Not certain who they were from. That might have been the Trent Dunham, Zach Buchanan problem. I'm not certain, but... Uh-oh, we got someone else that spun up here, and that's Seth Cole. Stephanie Gardner, Jessica Villanueva's in it. Ryan Acosta's in it. John Acosta, Ian Dutta, possibly James Qualls. There's Ryan Acosta, who had just gotten himself into contention for the championship in MG1. He's badly mangled now. Pichu London, he's all crunched up. John Acosta, there's Ian Dutta. The engine has expired on that machine. And there's Seth Cole, Jessica Villanueva, now sitting on pit road. And Villanueva's just now retired. So now, Johnny Gardner, Benjamin Miles, that's the battle for C5. Let's find the... Whoops, that wasn't the button I meant to hit. Let's find the battle for RX, which may be gone. Yeah, Nick Alton right now in command of it, but he's got Kyle Matthews now on his back bumper. Kyle Matthews, who a couple of weeks ago at Taylor Swift Superdome and another track too, I think the track before that, and I can't remember where it was, he was actually at one point leading the RX class. I think it was at Desert Rally, but I'm not sure. And circumstances knocked him out of the top position. He's got a chance here for redemption, does Kyle Matthews, but he's trying to beat Nick Alton, who has undoubtedly the last couple of weeks been the class of the field in the RX division. And Michael Norman right there, and Sam Young still in contention. And there is Dylan Poteet. Comes into this race only 1 point back from Nick Alton, but right now that would open up to 5 points as he's trying to run down the driver of the 87. Austin LaPlante has moved up now to the lead for MG1. LaPlante looking for, I think, is his second win? Possibly his third, but I'm not certain. And as we mentioned, he comes in 6 points behind Isaac Romero, and we know Isaac Romero ran into trouble on the very first lap of this race. So, big opportunity for a huge points deficit to be made up by Austin LaPlante. Joshua Osborne right now running second of the MG1 drivers, and Anthony McCurry right now third for MG1. Road course racing expert. We didn't get really to see his expertise last week at Diablo Valley, but we're seeing it here today. And talk about MG2. Good grief. Charles Sanford. This guy has been on a roll. He was caught up, or at least slowed up, in that lap 1 incident. Dropped way back, and right now he is the highest running of the MG2 machines. Are you kidding me? Luke Walker right behind him, though. Going to try and maybe see if he can get his first win of the season in MG2 class, but seems like there's no stopping Charles Sanford. Now, it's mathematically impossible this race, but Charles Sanford, if he can head into the season finale at Zenjoltis with more than a 10-point advantage over second place, Charles Sanford, doesn't matter where he would finish that race, he would win the championship. There's Jean Sanford, who I think started dead last in this race. She's now worked her way up to third highest of Class MG2. And there's James Qualls. There's Zachary Fitzwater. He's a lap down now. And Zach Buchanan's about maybe 3 MG2 cars behind Charles Sanford. So the gap between himself and Charles Sanford heading into next week at this point would stand somewhere between 11 and 12 points, which is exactly the kind of gap Charles Samper would want to have. Ryan Acosta's return back to the track. John Cittadino way back here in 29th. He was leading MG1 at one point in this race. Not certain what's happened to him. There's Jake Haynes. It's certainly going to be a rough points day for him. And new leader, Benjamin Miles. This is Ben Miles' home track, too, here in New York. And what if he could win this thing? O'Neal Baldwin moving by Johnny Gardner for second place, as Gardner apparently made a little bit of a mess up, and it's going to cost him. Got some good racing back here, too. This is fourth place under contest. Dylan Young has it. Ryan Cooper there, along with Dusty Allen and Jessica Shelton. Right now, Shelton probably very happy to see Johnny Gardner lose those couple of spots. That moves him back to third. Right now, she's running 7th, so that's only 4 points she would lose on Gardner, which makes it only 6 points that she would lose. Right now, Johnny Gardner may be thinking about the big picture. Johnny Gardner actually currently residing in Colorado, is a former resident of New York as well, so this would have been a home track for him too. But Benjamin Miles now out in front, former winner this season. If Benjamin Miles could win here today, pick up his second win of the season, that could put him in contention for the championship. But with Johnny Gardner running where he is, I don't know, maybe not. We'd have to see. Season's been full of surprises. There's the battle for RX. I saw it there in the rear of the camera view when the leaders were going through the dog leg, or the bus stop, whichever you want to call it. Nick Alton still holding on to that spot, but Kyle Matthews very determined to get around him in some way. Nick Alton trying to pull a Charles Samper when Samper has won 3 races in his class. Whoop, someone spun! Was that a C5 driver that spun? Might have been Dylan Young. Dylan Young is way off the pace, and yes, I think it was the 24. Dylan Young spun around, I think off the final corner, or on the front straightaway anyway. And we have a battle for the lead here in C5. And O'Neal Baldwin looking to the right side through the bus stop of Benjamin Miles. Oh, contact! And O'Neal keeps it there, and they're going to rub doors again through this right-hander. It's going to allow Johnny Gardner to close in, and Baldwin, can he clear Benjamin Miles off this corner? Not yet. Miles will have the preferred line coming down into the left-hander. See what's going to happen here. Then it's another right-hander, advantage O'Neal Baldwin. And look at Johnny Gardner looking to see which line's going to open up here. They come through the final corner. Off the final corner, and O'Neal Baldwin will move to the front. Benjamin Miles got a little loose off that corner, and Gardner slips by for second. They got some slower traffic they're going to have to deal with up ahead. Jake Haynes there and Cody Lamas. See if that plays a factor into this. Alton still has Kyle Matthews on his back bumper. Austin LaPlante very much in command of MG1. He's got a big gap between himself and Joshua Osborne. Anthony McCurry right there trying to take second place in the MG1 class at the moment. And there is Charles Samper. Right now he's running 18th overall. Luke Walker has lost touch with him, along with his sister Jean. Whoa. That was a pretty interesting battle right there. This would actually be for third place in RX right now. Michael Norman holds it. Sam Young wants it. And Nick Alton is not going to shake loose the Kyle Matthews machine, at least not right now. Here's a battle up here. Some C5 drivers going at it. Jessica Shelton, Joseph Srigley, and Ryan Cooper. Shelton beginning to work her way up there. I believe she's now up into 5th overall. And that is indeed the case. Right there, Dusty Allen 4th. Johnny Gardner 3rd, Benjamin Miles 2nd, and O'Neal Baldwin right now the leader for C5 as they got around the slower damaged machine of fellow C5 competitor and points leader coming into this race, Jake Haynes. Next driver they'll have to contend with is the damaged MG2 machine, the Marlboro number 29 of Cody Lamas. We'll see if he's going to cause any problems holding up O'Neal Baldwin. After that, it would be John Cittadino out of MG1, who I'm pretty certain spun off the final corner or just in the middle of the front straightaway, and that lost him the lead in MG1 earlier on in this race. And now, not exactly the best spot to encounter a slower machine for O'Neal Baldwin. Now he gets to a straightaway and he'll probably be able to make the move. Cody Lamas, though, kind of threw a little bit of a block on him. And Ryan Acosta's back on pit road. It's been a tough, struggling day for the 10 car. Baldwin will now clear Cody Lamas. Miles looks to do the same, and I believe he just did. Now Johnny Gardner has to go to work on the 29, almost door banging him as he tries to work his way through the S's and finally does clear the 29. Now the next driver for O'Neal Baldwin to have to contend with would be the 18 of John Cittadino, who he will more than likely encounter just out of the exit of the bus stop here. He's got to make sure he doesn't make a mistake because he's got Benjamin Miles, Johnny Gardner right there within striking distance, and there's still enough time to make a mistake. Calculations are correct, O'Neal Baldwin will encounter John Cittadino coming to the front straightaway. Well, maybe sooner than that, right here in this turn. And where is he going to go? He's going to go up to the outside line of the 18 car. And he's not going to clear him this time, and Benjamin Miles is going to use that to his advantage. He's going to try and use the 18 as a pick. He's going to try and pass them both. Look at Benjamin Miles. This is going to be congested into this corner. Look out. Oh, where are they all going to go? Where can they go? And now Miles gets boxed in behind Cittadino. Baldwin gets away from that with the advantage. Cittadino holding up Benjamin Miles and Johnny Gardner, and they're still not by him yet. Still trying to find their way around him, and that's going to allow O'Neal Baldwin to scamper away. And look at Gardner. Says, all right, I'll take advantage of this, and he's going to jump up to the right side of Benjamin Miles, who is rapidly losing positions now, getting caught up behind the slower machine of John Cittadino. Now he's got Dusty Allen on his back bumper for third. I don't think that 41's very happy with the 18. One driver that's very happy right now, though, is O'Neal Baldwin, because he is gone. Next driver he would have to contend with is Danny Wells, and I'm not really certain he's going to catch up to him before this race is over. That could be all she wrote in this thing. Gardner now up to second, Miles back to third, and Dusty Allen now right in fourth. Let's find the RX battle. That RX battle is actually dwindled. Nick Alton now in command by quite a margin between himself and Kyle Matthews. Austin LaPlante still in command of MG1, and there is Charles Sanford still in command of MG2. Luke Walker really not able to close the gap up there, and as far as MG1, Joshua Osborne has done very little to be able to close the gap up between himself and LaPlante. So at the moment, every single one of the class battles have turned into a runaway on track. Ryan Cooper working his way around the slower MG1 machine of John Cittadino. Cooper now between Kyle Matthews and Nick Alton, as well as Cittadino. And now Alton trying to put some more distance between himself and Kyle Matthews as he's trying to work around Cody Lamas as well as Carson Gum. It's been a tough couple of weeks for Carson. He came in last week as co-points leader, and it's been a very, very dismal past few runs for him as he's going to drop, I think, even further in the point standings after this week. Baldwin leading Class C5. Nick Alton looking for 3 in a row as he leads Class RX. Class MG1 in the command of Austin LaPlante, and Charles Sanford looking for his 4th win of the season, leads MG2. Still time to make a mistake, but there's pure, smooth sailing, clean racetrack right now for O'Neal Baldwin. These guys are in a battle, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, Gardner, Miles, and Allen. So if you think about who's got the most pressure and who's going to have the better opportunity of making a mistake under pressure, I don't think it's in any way the leader O'Neal Baldwin. Danny Wells just now hitting the start-finish line. So he's still a good ways ahead of the 16, the leader O'Neal Baldwin. So I don't think O'Neal is going to catch any more slower machines. I'd say right now the only one that could really mess up his chances would be O'Neal Baldwin himself. He's just got to hit his marks here. As a matter of fact, he's got such a gap right now, he could probably be a little bit more conservative through these corners in order to ensure the fact that car's going to make it back to the checkered flag in one piece, because you can see that Johnny Gardner, Benjamin Miles, they were almost not even in the same camera shot. You see how, look at the gap back there. Baldwin very smooth there through the bus stop. Absolutely no mistakes. I think that's exactly what he's doing. I think he's being a little bit more conservative with his run. Let's actually find out if that's the actual case. He had a 3.12 advantage over Johnny Gardner last time. Let's see if that has shrunk at all. Doesn't necessarily mean that Johnny Gardner is running down O'Neal Baldwin. It means that O'Neal Baldwin would be trying to save his equipment and preserve his opportunity to win this thing. Let's see, as he crosses the stripe, let's see what the gap now is between himself and Johnny Gardner. Well, it grew a little, grew by about a tenth. We should update the drivers that are out of the race right now. Anthony McCrory's out of the race. Apparently a tire problem for him, and he was running so well for MG1. Pichu London, Prunes, Littlejohn, they're out. Ian Dutta, Jessica Villanueva, Seth Cole, Stephanie Gardner. Isaac Romero has retired from the race in 38th place. That was your points leader in RX coming into this race. Or make that an MG... Wait, which class? MG1. That was your MG1 leader. And he's out of the race, as well as Caleb Farrell and Joseph Bryant. Got a number of drivers that are down at least a lap. Dylan Young, Cody Lamas, John Cittadino, Jake Haynes, who came in as the points leader for C5, also Zachary Fitzwater and Ryan Acosta. And I said O'Neal Baldwin was not going to catch Danny Wells. Well, we're coming to the white flag, and he may catch that 21 car before the checkered flag waves. Here we go. Let's look here. White flag displayed. O'Neal Baldwin leading this class. Nick Alton with a machine of Ryan Cooper between himself and Kyle Matthews, looking for his third win in a row. There's Austin LaPlante, still very much in control. Joshua Osborne and Brandon Worth nowhere close enough to challenge for that. And there is Charles Sanford leading MG2, and Luke Walker's trying to close the gap, but now Jake Haynes going to be between Sanford and Walker. Let's jump quickly back up, see if the 21's been reeled in by the 16. Not quite, but he's about to. He may end up reaching him just about when they get to the start-finish line, unless he can make the move on him here. He will clear him easily heading into this corner. So O'Neal Baldwin is going to come out of the final corner. And O'Neal Baldwin's going to pick up the victory here today at Watkins Glen for Class C5. Baldwin wins at the Glen. Nick Alton, 3 in a row for RX races. He won at Riverside, he wins Diablo, and he wins here in RX at Watkins Glen. Now we're looking for Austin LaPlante. There he is. Brandon Worth, Joshua Osborne battling for second in Class MG1 right now behind him, but it will be Austin LaPlante in dominating fashion, picking up his, I believe it's his second win of the season for MG1. He'll take the checkers at the Glen. And MG2, how about the hot streak of Charles Sanford, his 4th win of the season in MG2. He wins here today at the Glen. And if you want to see your new points leader heading into next week for C5, Johnny Gardner finished 2nd place here today. The hardship by Jake Haynes. Johnny Gardner is your new points leader in Class C5. Nick Alton will continue to hold the points lead for Class RX with his 3rd win in a row. It'll be interesting here as we're going to look at the official results to see if there's going to be actually a points battle for Class MG1. Let's look here real quick. LaPlante wins. Let's see how many drivers in MG1 finish between himself and Isaac Romero coming into this race. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then Romero was dead last. That means, according to my calculations, that we have a new points leader atop the MG1 standings. Austin LaPlante will now take back over the point standings in that division. And then as far as MG2, well, I think MG2 could be very well wrapped up already this season with Charles Sanford picking up the victory here, his 4th of the season. His lead in the points will extend between himself and Zach Buchanan because 4 drivers finish between himself and Buchanan. The gap's going to open up to at least 12 points between himself and Zach. This is not really going to be much of a battle for MG2, but I'll tell you what, Johnny Gardner, not certain how big of a gap he's going to have. Let's see, it's going to be about, according to my calculations, 5 points he'll have over Jessica Shelton, maybe about 7 points over Carson Gum, and then I would say roughly 9 points, 8 points between himself and Jake Haynes, who's going to lose the points lead. So as far as my calculations go, it'll be Johnny Gardner, the points leader for C5, Nick Alton, still the points leader for RX. MG1 will have a new points leader with Austin LaPlante, and still dominating the points in MG2 will be Charles Sanford. Thank you all so much for watching this race here at the Glen. O'Neal Balvin's your winner for C5. Your winner for RX is Nick Alton. Your winner for MG1, Austin LaPlante, and Charles Sanford, your winner for MG2. There's the rest of your finishing results from today's event here at the Glen. Next week we head to the penultimate round. Not certain where it's going to be, but then we head to the season finale after that. Race number 10 will take place at Zen Joltis, where we will find out our 4 champions in our 4 class races. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time as you've been watching the NRSL Reese's Late Model Series on the Entry Sports Channel, offline racing at its best.